Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving into a really brilliant analysis by development economist Oluyomi Oladevid. She takes a hard look at the promises and, honestly, the hidden perils of the new wave of foreign investment hitting Africa. We're going to explore her work on the shifting global dynamics as emerging powers begin to pour money into the continent. Is this a new dawn for development, or just a repeat of history under a brand new name? Let's get right into it. To really grasp her argument, we'll follow her historical journey through Africa's investment appeal, the old OECD aid legacy, the entrance of BRICS partners, this critical idea she calls premature deindustrialization, and finally, her framework for avoiding investment colonization. Starting off with Section 1, Africa's investment appeal. So why is Africa the ultimate prize in global trade right now? Well, she highlights three massive pillars drawing in foreign capital like a magnet. We're talking incredibly youthful demographics, a rapidly emerging middle class, and, of course, rich natural resources. She emphasizes that Africa is basically the toast of the town right now, courted by both traditional European partners and emerging global South economies. As a latecomer in development, it actually has this amazing potential to leapfrog older technologies by using foreign capital. But as she points out, catching the eye of global investors, well, that's really only half the battle. That brings us right into Section 2, the OECD aid legacy. To understand her deep anxieties about what's happening today, we really have to look backward. Post-colonization was definitely not a clean slate. She powerfully notes that the structural reality for Africa was built around resource extraction. These economies were literally set up to act as feeders for developed countries' industries. And when development aid did roll in, it bound African nations to the whims of Western donors, mainly the OECD. This aid came with some serious strings attached. Think of the stringent conditionalities of structural adjustment programs, or SAPs, which forced harsh policy shifts just to get loans. She points out that all of this created a massive long-term backwash effect, leaving many states stuck in a persistent loop of aid dependency. It's a seriously heavy legacy. Moving on to Section 3, enter the BRICS partners. And here is where we see a huge pivot in the global economy. On one side, you've got that heavy-handed legacy of Western OECD aid we just talked about. On the other side, she contrasts this with the rise of South-South cooperation, mostly spearheaded by BRICS nations. We're looking at totally new models of development assistance, trade, and foreign direct investment, or FDI. For African nations, this feels like an incredible chance to finally break free from those old donor-recipient traps and leapfrog into a new era, financed by a completely different kind of partner. But, and this is a big but, as Africa escapes the grip of Western donors, she asks a truly chilling question. Are trade and investment simply the new mechanisms for the colonization of Africa? It's a provocative thought, right? She reminds us that Europe historically underdeveloped Africa by designing its economies to be purely extractive. Her major worry? That unfavorable BRICS investment might actually do the exact same thing today. Which leads us straight into Section 4, premature deindustrialization. To answer that chilling question, she introduces a complex but absolutely vital macroeconomic concept: premature deindustrialization. What is that? Well, it's a track where a developing economy jumps straight into a service-led model before it ever builds a mature manufacturing base. She warns that this is incredibly dangerous. You see, the kind of FDI a country receives matters completely. If foreign money just pumps up the service sector and completely bypasses the hard, gritty work of building factories and manufacturing capabilities, the economy transforms, sure, but it transforms prematurely. She anchors this with real-world examples, pointing to a recent study of Africa's largest economy, Nigeria. There, FDI has heavily driven a service sector-led transformation. She also notes recent studies on India highlighting the exact same threats. She argues that FDI skewed heavily towards services rather than manufacturing just isn't going to cut it for true structural transformation. Manufacturing is the engine. It's the absolute core of what drives inclusive growth, develops workforce skills, and builds an economy that can actually withstand shocks. So let's look at how this plays out. She lays it out as a very dangerous domino effect. Domino 1. The investment coming in is merely extractive. It takes the resources but doesn't build local industry. Domino 2. Because of this, the crucial manufacturing sector stalls out entirely. Domino 3. Without manufacturing, economic growth inevitably hits a wall. And then Domino 4, and this is the scary one, she warns that this premature deindustrialization creates massive political risk, up to and including the very real risk of democratic failure. So we aren't just talking about dollars and cents here. We're talking about the fundamental stability of nations.
This takes us to our final section, Section 5, Avoiding Investment Colonization.
So how does Africa protect itself while still tapping into that undeniable power of BRICS investment? In her forthcoming paper, she builds a new structuralist framework designed specifically to coordinate win-win FDI. She's asking the tough questions that policymakers desperately need to answer. Like, what are the actual implications of BRICS investment composition? What mechanisms can we actually force into place to promote skills and manufacturing? And how do we ensure we've truly learned our lessons from the OECD experience? By demanding answers to these, she's charting a post-2015 path for real sustainable structural transformation. Her core argument is absolute, and it's captured perfectly in this quote. FDI, which does not foster manufacturing sector development, is not ultimately beneficial. It is a stark reminder. No matter where the capital comes from, whether it's old Western donors or new Global South partners, if that money doesn't build up Africa's industrial engines, it's just a repeat of history. I'll leave you with this final thought based on her phenomenal insights. As global capital flows shift, will this next wave of BRICS investment truly transform Africa? Or will it just repeat the extractive history of the past under a new name? Will it just provide new managers for the exact same extraction? Thank you for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking the tough questions, and I'll see you next time.